I want to start with a real question. How do you build wealth when the people around you are doing the complete opposite? Like you're trying to be disciplined, you're trying to think ahead, you're trying to slow down and make better decisions, and everyone around you is spending, they're upgrading, they're rushing, and they're showing everything online, right? On Instagram, TikTok. But nobody really talks about that part, right? Because it's easy to talk about money when your environment supports it. It's easy when your friends are investing, when your family understands, when your lifestyle already looks the part. But what about when it doesn't? What about when you're the one moving quietly, not because you're scared, but because you're intentional, right? So that's what I want to talk about today because somewhere along the way, people started confusing being loud with being successful. And that's just not how wealth actually works. Most real wealth is built quietly, not in secret, just without performance, right? So if you've ever felt like you're behind because you're not showing anything yet, I need you to hear this clearly. That doesn't mean you're late. It might mean your position. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Claudie, and this is Lane to Wealth. And I've been on YouTube for about a year now, on and off, learning as I go. I'm not here pretending I have everything figured out. I'm here to share what I've learned from experience, the wins, the mistakes, and the lessons that actually stuck with me. This channel is about money, long term thinking, and using biblical wisdom in a way that applies to real life. Not church talk, not hustle talk, just real conversations on how to build something solid without you losing yourself in the process. And before we go any further, I do want to slow this down for a second and really say thank you to all my subscribers. So if you're subscribed to this channel, if you've watched a few videos, if you've commented, if you've shared something, or even if you've just been watching quietly, I genuinely appreciate you guys. You ladies, I really appreciate you. So I've been doing this long enough to know that showing up consistently is not easy. Like I've been on YouTube for about a year now, on and off. So especially when growth feels slow, especially when numbers aren't loud, especially when you're still building confidence as you go, there are plenty of moments where I could have stopped. Plenty of moments where I question if this was even worth continuing. And the only reason I didn't is because people are still here. So thank you truly. Thank you. And I want to share something with you. My goal over the next few months is to hit about 1,000 subscribers. That's a big milestone for me, guys, and I really would love your support in making that happen. So if this channel has helped you think differently or slow down or feel less crazy for wanting more while moving quietly, subscribing actually helps more than you probably realize. And when we hit 1,000, I'm going to be giving a surprise gift to one of my subscribers as a thank you. I'll share more details when we get closer, but just know it's something intentional and meaningful, not random. All right, now let's get back into the video, right? Of what I will be discussing today. So I really want to explain quiet wealth in a way that actually makes sense, right? So let's just go and start right off, right? So let's talk about two women, like just the example, right? So let's talk about a woman named Jill and a woman named Hillary. So I want you to really picture this because you probably know both of them. You probably know a Jill, you probably know a Hillary. Jill starts investing early, just nothing dramatic, nothing impressive, just consistent, right? And she's putting away about $400 a month. She's not talking about it. She's not feeling rich. She's definitely not feeling rich. And she's not waiting until everything is perfect. I know we like to wait till things is perfect before we start. I know for me, I always wanted to wait for me to save my first $10,000 when I was 18, right? But then you realize you're 25 and you spent that $10,000 on something else, right? So you never really got to investing. And I didn't really start small, because that's just wasn't our environment. So let's continue with, she just starts. Jill just starts. But guess what? Hillary waits, right? And that's something I did, unfortunately. I did wait a little bit longer to start investing, but not because she's irresponsible, not because I was irresponsible too. I was very responsible. But because, let's say Hillary, she just wants to feel ready. She wants to make more money first, then she wants to feel like it actually matters, like similar to me, right? I wanted to make more money first, right? So 5 years later, Hillary finally starts investing. And when she does, she goes harder. she's investing double because like she's making more money, right? She's grown. Um, she's making investing double. The outside, it really looks like she's doing more. She's louder about it. She feels more confident talking about the money. But by the time they're both older, Jill has more. And that part makes me feel uncomfortable. It's like, really? Like, just because you started earlier, you have more. And like, I started late, but I was investing more than you. Like, come on. That's like funny, right? Because Jill didn't do more, she just did it early. And early doesn't feel powerful in the moment. It feels so boring. It feels so slow. It feels invisible. But time doesn't care about your emotions. Time compounds whatever you give it, right? So Jill used time as a strategy. Hillary used emotion as a metric, right? And for me, I was busy. I always knew I wanted to invest. I always planned on it, but I was busy putting all my money into businesses, into my, I was an entrepreneur. I'm still an entrepreneur, so that's what I was doing. But at the same time, I could have still been investing. You know what I'm saying? The same way I pay a bill, I should have been investing, but I wasn't. But that's why quiet wealth works. Not because it feels good, but because it doesn't depend on how you feel. It reminds me of the tortoise and the hare story. Like we were taught that since school, since grade school, and a lot of us don't even apply it in real life. So the hare is fast, talented, confident. Everybody sees him, right? But the tortoise just keeps moving. The hare rushes, gets distracted, starts comparing, starts relaxing because he thinks he's ahead. And I'm not gonna lie, I made a lot of these mistakes, unfortunately. I'm young. I was like, we're all young. And I know a lot of us made a lot of these mistakes. It's just not me. So that's why I'm doing this channel right now. So, but the tortoise doesn't explain himself. He doesn't rush. He doesn't perform. He just keeps going. And eventually, that's who wins, right? Not because they were better, but because they stayed consistent. And I want to be very honest here. Starting early doesn't always mean you win early. And I had to learn that the hard way. Yeah, so back in 2014, I had my first video streaming platform. This was before apps were even popular like that, before everybody was talking about tech, before you saw all these successful social media influencers making millions of dollars, right? I started early, right? My partner and I, we were young, we were ambitious, we were fully invested in the vision, right? We had real investor offers early on, real money, right? And guess what? We turned it down. Like, why? Because we wanted control. We wanted to build it our way and stuff. We wanted 100% of a company that wasn't even working, right? That wasn't even bringing any money yet. So looking back, we should have sold. But here's what people don't tell you. The reason we should have sold, looking back, because it was just basically an ideal, and then investors offered us money based on that one ideal that hasn't even proven any success yet. So as young people in our young 20s, like 21, 22 years old, we should have just took it, and then that would have been our first exit. That would have been our first exit plan, our real first, money where we would invest it into something else. But the thing is, we failed early, we learned early. We made mistakes before they were even expensive. So that was a good experience. And that experience has shaped me on how I see money, risk, and timing till this day. So quiet wealth isn't about never messing up. It's about messing up before the stakes are high, right? So later on, I had a minority stake in an overseas business. It was basically a virtual assistant company I co-owned abroad for several years, right? So I wasn't hands-on every day and I wasn't posting about it, but guess what? It paid me consistently. Not 6 figures a month and not flashy, but it was stable. And I learned that, even I wasn't, making 6 figures a month, I was making pretty good money monthly, just from doing nothing. And the reason I was able to have that deal is because I failed early, because of my company, that the app that I did not sell early on, but I still landed a partner in that. And when I exited, I didn't have to announce it. I just didn't explain it because real diversification doesn't need attention. Attention. It's about systems that work even when you're tired, even when you're not motivated, and even when life is happening, right? So here's another thing I don't think people talk about enough. I document everything, every investment, every business move, every win, and every loss. Because numbers don't lie and paper doesn't forget, right? So quiet wealth isn't guessing, it's tracking. That's the difference between someone who spends and someone who stewards. One celebrates moments, the other studies patterns. And I love to study patterns, guys. I've always been a pattern studier. So now let me talk to you directly for a second, right? If you're trying to build wealth while your environment doesn't match, if people around you are spending, flexing, upgrading, rushing, and you're sitting there wondering if you're doing something wrong because you're not showing off anything, right? You're not showing off anything yet because you're just building boring businesses, boring wealth. You're investing in the stock market, whatever the case might be, right? You're not behind. You're actually positioned. You're very positioned. So you should be very proud of yourself, right? So, and this is where I want you to actually do something, right? Don't just think you're positioned well. What now I want you to do, I want you to grab a notebook. Not 5 planners, not a fancy system here, just one, just a notebook. On the first page, I want you to write my quiet wealth stream, right? So write down 3 things you already know how to do or want to learn. Circle one on the paper, on your little notepad, on your little notebook or whatever. That's it. That's all you have to do, right? So you don't really need 5 income streams like everybody is talking about. You just need one done well. So, and that's a lot. That's what I'm going to be discussing in my YouTube coming more. My new YouTube videos. You know, we're going to start a brand new chapter. I'm going to tell you guys how things work. I'm very excited I'm going to be moving forward with this new channel, right? So the next page, right? The next page or the same page, whatever. You don't need to waste paper if you have enough space. So write down my automatic moves, right? So you pick a number you can sustain without stress, same day, same time, every month. Consistency, that's scheduled. Compounds faster than motivation that fades. So on the same page or the next page, if you have space, right? Write down quarterly reviews, right? So every 90 days, ask yourself what worked, what drained you, and what needs to change, right? That's not failure, that's data. That's data, my ladies, my people. So if you do this quietly for like a year, you might not feel flashy, you might not feel impressive, you might not even feel successful. But guess what? You will feel secure. And that actually matters more. That matters more. So I also want you to know this. I've put everything we talked about today into a free ebook that you can download right now. Completely free, right? So it's called How to Build Your First Quiet Wealth Stream, right? So make sure you download it. I'm so excited for you guys to learn how to build your first quiet wealth stream. So if you're someone who wants to start but you don't want to rush, perform, or copy what everybody else is doing, this was made for you. You'll find the link below. Download it, read it, and actually use it. Use it for yourself, use it for your family. Because this is here, we're building real wealth and we're not building it from the top. We're not building it from the bottom, we're building it from the middle, right? So, and if this video actually helped you in any way, I'd really appreciate you subscribing as we work toward hitting 1,000 subscribers. So I'm excited to give back when we reach that milestone. I can't wait to give someone or 2 or 3 people, I don't know yet, but we're gonna continue discussing that. A free gift, right? So, as Ecclesiastes 7, verse 8 says, the end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride. Because over here, we don't chase wealth, we're chosen to create it. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to this journey with you guys because this is Lane to Wealth, and we are on this journey together. God bless. I love you. Bye.